Then they can really understand. And also they can see on the job interview that they work with drone data.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you again.
Thank you. I'm gonna look for you later, Denise.
Yeah, sure, thank you.
All right, how's everybody doing?
Good.
Thanks for being here today. We're gonna talk about virtual reality. This will be an interactive session, so I hope everybody just chimes in when you have any questions. My name is Mfon Akpan. Currently, I'm professor at a university called Savannah College of Art and Design. I recently joined there in September. So before that, I was at National Louis University. So it's been a transition for me. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Savannah SCAD. Okay, great. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's been a transition. I'm not teaching accounting. I'm teaching business courses. But what really drew me there was technology. So I have the opportunity to work with a lot of the latest technology. The school also is one of the only schools I know where you can get a bachelor's degree in virtual reality, in immersive technology. So I get to play around with a lot of stuff there. So, but before we talk about this, I want to see just your knowledge of virtual reality. Who's used or heard of virtual reality before? Oh, okay. All right. What's been your experience?
You know, like the New York Times has that little virtual, that box you wear, and it does a 4D,
Yeah.
3D experience.
Right. Exactly.
And it makes me a little dizzy.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
is-
my advisor, his son-in-law was the photographer at the top of the One World Trade Center using virtual reality, Jimmy Chin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you could, same box, you can like get in there and look around using the program.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, like as if you're up there on the spire.
Yes. I saw
Yeah.
something back there. Where the hand ups.
Our faculty computing group has started trying to introduce virtual reality to our program. And yesterday we had a meeting and they brought in some stacks and they let us try them on. And they actually had us in a room where we would be lecturing to the group.
Right.
And they told us to walk, turn your head, do 360, and then you were surrounded by what appeared to be an audience, and you could lecture to them like we're doing right now.
Yes.
They want us to understand the experience, and that was my own experience so far. That they're moving towards that kind of virtual reality experience of presenting our coursework.
Yes.
Pretty awesome.
It is. It's interesting. Yes.
A little bit similar to my husband's nephew. He's a realtor, and so he does virtual reality and gives his clients, especially for clients in mail, to live in a different city. They can't fly because buying a house in one city and all that.
Yeah, that's true. So you see that a lot with the real estate. They call it virtual tours, or if you're looking for a car,
Yeah.
so you have those views where you move around in the car.
Yeah.
So exactly. So virtual reality is a computer-generated scenario. So they can either use real life content or they call it CG, computer-generated content for it. Now, another area of this, and really what they call this, is XR.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard the term XR. That covers virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality. So another part to this is augmented reality. So you see those filters. Does anybody play with Snapchat, the
Yeah.
filters,
Yeah.
and Instagram and the filters? So that's augmented reality. And really, instead of you going into an environment, you're putting this virtual or computer-generated picture or scene on top of reality. So you put it on top of reality. So the other part to this is what they call mixed reality, which would be something called the Microsoft HoloLens. Has anybody heard of the HoloLens?
Yeah, I've heard it, yeah.
Oh, I didn't go here. When did you hear about the HoloLens?
I've seen the demo, they use the Minecraft, if you're familiar with that, at, well, we came in about 3 years ago now, 2 years. And literally, you wear a headset, you look down on a table, and it would map a 3D image onto that, and fix it in space, you know, against that surface. You would literally play a game that appeared to be in front of you. It was completely, 3D image generated.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yes.
And all of my kids want one.
Yeah, they've got the HoloLens too now.
And also you can
What's
see
your
like,
experience?
almost like seeing a laptop screen in front of you. So you're there, like you have the goggles on and the computer's in front of you and just like your hand is in the sky, but you're actually using the pad. It's a big
Yes.
pad in front of you, virtual pad,
That's right, Denny. It's
Yeah.
actually a computer.
right?
So you wear the computer, and if you want the keyboard, a virtual keyboard to be on the desk, you can have it here. You can load up Windows, PowerPoint, Excel, and you can put the computer wherever you want. So if you see someone with this thing on, they look kind of funny because they're
Yeah.
touching in the air, and you're like, what are they doing? Because you can't see what they're doing.
Yeah, but
So-
the screen's in front of them, yeah.
And the screen's right in front of you.
Yeah.
So that's the mixed reality. So really, what initially I was going to do, this presentation, I was going to do a demonstration. But something happened on Tuesday. So I had to talk with one of my students. So I get a lot of students who come up to me because I did a TEDx talk on virtual reality. So they come up to me and they tell me about their experiences with virtual reality and, ask me questions. So on Tuesday, I had one student, it's a production design student. He's a senior. So he was so excited, he got a job at Fox Sports.
Huh.
So, and he's going to be working on putting together their studio for the World Cup. So they're starting early, right? A few years early in advance. So he was just so excited because he wanted to tell me about how they're using virtual reality and augmented reality. And he was telling me how they're saving so much money and how many people are losing jobs. I felt kind of bad. I'm like, so many people are losing jobs. But what he did was he showed me this video to give me an idea. And this is what I want to share with you. And really, instead of doing a demonstration and showing the virtual reality, I want to talk more about why it's important that we understand it. Not necessarily using it, but understand how it's impacting business today. So my student showed me this video. Get it to play.
2019 brings a change unlike anything you've ever seen before as Race Hub goes virtual.
Our brand new state-of-the-art virtual set allows us to take you inside the world of NASCAR in a way you have never imagined.
Fox Sports has partnered with Epic Games to utilize their Unreal Engine, the same technology that powers the smash hit video game Fortnite.
A team of graphic artists and designers from North Carolina, California, Canada, Turkey, and Croatia has spent more than 1 year testing and fine-tuning our studio to turn a 47 by 40 by 14-foot green screen space into a customizable 360-degree environment.
The ability to combine augmented reality and 3D graphics allows us to use the new tools, like our 3D banking, which gives you an up-close and personal glimpse into all the action. Or we can immerse you in our next level environment, which allows us to break down every big moment of the race in incredible detail, like this one that decided a championship.
We even built a 3D Ford Mustang from the ground up. Over the last several months, our artists have created everything from the body, to the chassis, to the engine, to the brakes, to the exhaust, even down to every lug nut, without lifting a single wrench. It's all to assemble a full representation of the cars you see each and every week.
On top of that, we've taken full 3D body scans of more than 50 drivers to bring the stars of NASCAR into the studio via unprecedented graphical integration.
This cutting-edge technology allows us to provide new levels of analysis and storytelling for the sport.
maintaining the insight and expertise you love. So, welcome to our new home.
So what do you think about that? Virtual augmented reality, Fox Sports.
How do we use this in the classroom?
Well, by understanding what they're doing.
Okay.
So what Fox is doing, they're saving a lot of money. And I thought this was very interesting, the way that my student explained this to me. So as I mentioned before, my student, he just got hired to build and design one of those sets for the World Cup. Go
I
ahead.
mean, my former advisor, in fact, I want to hook you up with him afterwards. He's looking at the idea of using a virtual classroom.
Yeah.
So the idea is students don't have to be there physically to attend, they can attend virtually, and that sort of eliminates having to go drive to school or whatnot and be in a physical classroom.
Right.
Yeah.
Save money on the space. So what he showed me was this NASCAR that they're using right now. And the way he explained, again, this is his field. I'm working now at SCAD. He explained to me, he's like, this is so great, Professor. They don't have to build a set, which he was saying is about $5 million. They have to have a special floor. He said they don't have to do that. They don't have to fly anybody out to the NASCAR track. What they do, they just put a camera there. Then he said they just have to have 2 people there in the studio. They record them. They don't have to fly anywhere. They come in there for all day. They do what they need to do. Everything is done virtually, virtual reality. All of those scenes and things you saw were computer generated. Then he was telling me, because of the way it's designed, they have cameras that they only need 2 cameras, and they don't need a cameraman walking. They're remote control. So he was explaining, instead of having 3 cameramen and a manager, they have 2. And they just guide the computers and move them, the cameras around through the computer. And then the second person is the manager over the other person. So it saves Fox. And I don't know if you know, the parent company of Fox is Disney. So that's who's, this whole initiative with using this is to save money and to really boost profitability of Fox, because Disney also owns 80% of ESPN as well. So I thought it was interesting. I felt bad because it's displacing so many jobs, right? So I thought this was bad, but he was so excited about it. Yes.
What is the cost of, it sounds like there's lots of software engineering involved with getting one of these virtual places up and running. So, the use case has to be pretty big, right?
Yeah.
Very profitable.
Yeah, on the front end.
Right.
So on the front end, yes, it's expensive. In the long range, it's not. The cost to maintain it.
Right.
You don't need that many employees. You don't have to hire that many anchors. You don't have to have them to go to different locations. They can stay in one place in that studio. So long term, it cuts a lot of expenses. Yes.
Comment about this, a lot of times gaming studios build assets. So they build a model of a car, a horse, a human being, and basically motion capture, and then they license it out. So they build a brand, they sell it or license it to universities, to research facilities, to studios like that, and that lives in perpetuity. They can use it 1,000 different ways. And it's a digital construct.
Yeah.
So the long-term cost savings, you can use that same asset if you build at a high end of quality level forever.
Yes, exactly. Has anybody heard of Fortnite? Everybody's laughing.
2 kids, 2 sons.
The Fortnite. So when we saw that,
See you later today.
yeah, everybody's playing the Fortnite, right? But that's just to your point. Epic Games, they have the Unreal Engine to make this, the software that makes this content. That's what Fox is using. So to your point, as far as the cost, the front end cost for them to buy those digital assets or to create them, that's a one-time cost, and then they have them forever. So that was a good point. So the same people who are doing the Fortnite, they're doing this for Fox Sports, which is Disney. So any questions?
Do you have time? Do you have time?
I
I have
do.
a question about,
Sure,
do you
sure.
use virtual reality for your teaching?
Yes, I do.
How so?
So I create 360 videos. So is anybody familiar with, trying to think, maybe, well, you talked about the New York Times.
Yes.
So you look at New York Times VR or CNN VR, how you can look at it on your smartphone and you can move around with it. I create content like that. So virtual lectures,
And like a flipped classroom like that, like they watch it and then you come to class?
more so online.
Okay.
So I'll
Okay.
record certain sections, maybe I'm talking about the accounting equation. So I have that, so most students, they access things on their smartphone. So it's easily accessible. If they wanna scale up, get Google Cardboard glasses, or if they wanna use a Oculus, headset, they can, but they can just get on their smartphone and move around. So it gives a level of immersion, but it's not a high level of immersion.
So how do you do that?
Yeah, what, deep immersion with the accounting equation?
How do I do it?
Yeah.
Well, I've got,
What
so,
is your
3D
software?
accounting
Yeah.
equation?
Yeah.
so the backstory, how I got into all of this, I think I was
Yeah.
telling you at lunch. So I don't know if anyone knows Scott Showalter.
Yes, I know.
Scott Showalter, yeah. So in 2016, he was at the AAA annual meeting, and he was talking about how he used a game called Second Life. He gamified inventory
Yeah.
audits. So I thought that was very interesting. And then I was looking for a way to really immerse, to make that real. So that's how I got into the virtual reality. And like I was telling Denise at lunch, I bought a lot of equipment, I bought cameras, I have the different things. And I thought, this would be cool. I can go into a manufacturing company and I can film it and it looks like you're really there. So as soon as I started calling these places to see if I can come in and film their operation, what do you think they said?
No way.
No way. So that wasn't gonna happen. So then what I started doing was, and actually it was feedback in a presentation like this. What I started doing was filming the content, me doing lectures or talking about topics, and then I start using it for the online classes.
Oh.
So it gives an extra level of immersion and engagement. So what I do, if you go to my YouTube, you can look at a lot of this stuff. So I don't know if anyone makes YouTube videos. You can check your analytics, your data. You can see who clicks, who views, and things. So what I've noticed, they spend more time on those 360, the VR videos that I make, versus the plain YouTube video, the 2D videos that I make. So if that answers your question, so I do content
I'm
that
gonna look
way.
it up too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just Google
Yeah,
the name?
you go to YouTube and just type in my name. Mfon Jacob Akpan account. So I have about 4 channels.
Really?
One thing I look at when I look at this, one thing I'm feeling is it's a very good tool for teaching,
Sure.
right? Once you create this, whatever you're talking about, it's kind of, what I think is it's more like static versus what her technology was more real time, where you can use it for an audit or something. But this, I think, is more for teaching in a classroom, or once you make some video, it's not like you can update it every day with whatever is changing out there. So it's a static photograph of a accounting equation maybe, or whatever, but it's not current, right? There's no way to make it current.
Oh, you mean to I'd have to make a new video.
Right.
That would be the thing. You'd have to make
Unlike
another
the drone or whatever, it can actually use it in an auditing environment. This is mostly for training, like training pilots or whatever.
Well, it's all, that's the thing. I think more I'm shifting to talk more about really the impact, so on business. So one of them, the student, he just brought this to me and I'm like, wow, this is, he was showing me how it cuts expenses, anything from the medical field. So I know, and I'm from Illinois, I know they use the University of Illinois, when they, instead of buying, you can't buy a cadaver, but there's costs around cadaver. You can't buy dead bodies, but there's costs around, so they use virtual VR to save money on the cost of cadavers and stuff. So they use this in medicine as well, and as in advertising. Yes.
What would you estimate the cost is when you bought all of the equipment before you put it on?
Oh, it was like $300.
Really?
Wow.
That's not bad.
Yeah. It was like three. I bought a Samsung Gear VR camera. Oh, I'm out. Got 5 minutes. Okay. I bought a Samsung Gear VR camera, but I've got all types of, stuff. you know, from Oculus and Vive. I've got pretty most things you can think of. Yes.
But just getting started was the $300 investment.
Yeah, it was 300, and it's actually cheaper now. So I bought it when it first came out. But there's other cameras and things you can buy.
Is there a list somewhere of just the basic things that you would need to get started, like what you're mentioning?
Yeah, well, yes and no, because it's kind of, if you look at it's a broad spectrum. So if you're looking to do what I do, what they call 360 video, that's one area. Like that gentleman was mentioning, as far as creating computer generated content, then that's something, a program called Unity is one of them, where you would have to go in, either buy assets and create your own. So there's different levels. If it's something that's a lower level, I would say a 360 camera if you're looking to do real live content.
A lot of schools and shared workspaces will have a green screen studio in them that you can timeshare. Your department can pay for a bit of the time there, and they will have the equipment. So you're really just paying for the time. And it had lighting, and one of the things you saw them building, that big studio stage there, the NASCAR bit with the rounded corners and the big green thing there. They'll actually have a little piece like that, or a shell where they'll have a drop down green screen, but the most important part is like the lighting. That'll cost you far more than the camera frequently. But what you get is that green screen dropout. That means that you can present different information. You can do one voiceover, and you can change out the background, keep with the times, or introduce new materials in some way if you record generically. So that's one of the big things, is you don't have to do it all in real time in real space. You can kind of split them off into two different workflows.
That's right.
Save money.
And there's volumetric, there's volume, oh, sorry.
Faculty would have that expertise to use the green wall.
Well, they usually will have,
it's a green wall.
they'll have audiovisual folks, they
Right.
usually will run
They
the
help you.
and they can help you, art departments, schools with art design projects, capstone projects, basically do a.
And there's volumetric, there's a volumetric camera, volumetric filming, which is another.
Yeah.
So there's so many different areas that you can go with this. Yes, sir.
Yeah, to the point of having equipment, for about $200, I've got a green screen set up and a teleprompter in my office, and I can record my own. It came from Amazon, I got them both. Came with lighting, a green screen, the whole thing, and a teleprompter, so I just attach a camera to it, and I can do all kinds of things for $200 in my office.
Right.
So do you know if our schools do, I think our schools may have that, is there any resource that would provide ideas for how we can incorporate VR into different I teach 2 different classes, so anything you recommend?
I would say, well, you already got the New York Times, it's in VR, so CNN VR, I would go.
But I mean, actually, for us to create our own VR for for financial accounting or for auditing, do you have any ideas?
Well, you can always follow me on YouTube. That's one. Outside.
Can I show you my students too?
Yeah, no problem. Outside of that, I haven't really seen anyone creating the content in that way. But there is. So there's a couple of things. There's a platform called VEER. I post quite frequently there. It's in China. It's a social media. It's based in China, but it's a social media platform like YouTube, but you post virtual reality videos. So there's nothing on there except for virtual reality videos. So you can go in there, you can search for different content. So that's one that I can think of. I lost my train of thought.
Giving us a lot.
But if you want to stay in contact, here's my cell phone. That's my email. And also, I'm pretty. Oh, sorry.
One more second.
I have this in my computer.
I'm pretty strong on social media, so you can follow me on Twitter. You can search me on YouTube. You'll find me. I've got 4 channels. So I've got business, finance, accounting, and then a personal one. You can find the videos on the accounting channel. Yeah, and you can find me on Facebook.
All right, I guess I need a picture of this.
Periscope is a live, it's part of Twitter. So it's a live streaming, where you can stream live. So you can kind of broadcast yourself if you want to. Actually, they were one of the first ones to start with that or become popular with Twitter, and then Facebook kind of followed suit. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Everybody doing okay still? We need to stretch?
Jumping jacks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know, I thought we were all gonna be trying to keep everybody awake after that lunch.